Hello! Today we're going to be reading an ebook I created for my exit ticket number 2 and for my badge number 7. Talking about killing two birds with one stone, am I right? Anyway, so I wanted to ask, what's the point of assigning projects for students in the classroom? Created by me, obviously. Assigning projects not only allows for students to apply the knowledge they've learned in class, but it helps to develop the work ethic required to get similarly long-term assignments accomplished in the adult world as well. Assigning projects also engage students by encouraging social activity, which can help develop healthy bonds with fellow classmates and create even new friendships and even bolster one's own public speaking skills when presenting to it and others as well. Projects reflect the learning of students in academia by encouraging them to delve deeper into a topic they may not have considered important in the first place. Challenging the mind of a student is one of the best ways they can learn new concepts in not just school, but the real world as well. Let's just take a look at this video here for an example.
Hello and welcome to Teachings in Education, Project-Based Learning. Capture your students' attention with real-world problem. Project-based learning is often abbreviated to the acronym PBL, which will be used throughout the video. So, why should educators use PBL in their classroom? Projects are often assessed through presentations. Having students present more often helps students develop better communication skills. Many times, project assignments allow students to work with their hands and complete tasks. It's important for them to have developed some of these 21st century life skills. Projects are assigned as group activities. Being able to work with others is a necessary component of countless fields of work. PBL really comes in handy for those situations where students are just plain old bored of lectures. The best part of PBL is that it increases student engagement. Students will actually enjoy working on these projects and be much more pleasant while working. Who is PBL meant for? Now, it can be used for any student. However, it is most effective on certain types of students. At-risk students benefit the most from project-based learning. These students obviously struggle with typical classroom learning. PBL can be used for many different classes, but PBL is most prevalent in social studies, science classes, and art classes as well. One common misconception is that project-based learning is only meant for upper grade level courses. However, PBL may be incorporated from grades kindergarten through 12th grade. How to implement PBL in our classroom. Every class project should begin with a driving question that is specifically aligned to a learning goal. The level of complexity of the driving question should be appropriate for the type of students in the classroom. The next step for implementation is the inquiry process. Students should apply learned knowledge, ask and answer critical thinking questions, and locate resources. In the next step, students find a solution to the driving question. Here is where students solve the problems, oftentimes with creations, models, and presentations. And the last step is to allow students to make their projects available to the public.
Alright, moving on from here. If I ever wanted to apply makerspaces in my classroom, I'd really like to apply the 3D printing labs to teach my math lessons on probability by 3D printing dice to help represent chance and to promote engagement for my students in the classroom, which would allow for the use of cool software to amplify my lesson. Makerspaces are workplaces that offer avenues for students to create objects and devices in the classroom, but also for students to freely use their creativity, which increases their problem-solving and critical thinking skills at the same time. The role of a student assessment as a teacher establishes what skills a student or even a class is strong at. These assessments can help gauge what type of material a teacher should prioritize covering first, along with figuring out how a student learns most effectively as well. Let's watch this video here to further realize this.
Assessment is all around us. If you're a skater at a skate park, you're engaging in self-assessment every time you reflect on your progress and plan your next steps. If you're a runner training for a marathon, you look at time splits and compare it to your goals. If you're a musician, you're engaging in assessment every time you listen to yourself play and make modifications to your approach. As an author, you engage in self-assessment when you revise your work, and it's not always individual. Often assessment will happen in community. If you're a chef, you're engaging in peer assessment when you ask a trusted fellow chef, how does this taste? If you're an artist, you might ask for an extra set of eyes on a particular project. If you're an engineer, you might observe users to see if your design is working. And if you do any kind of creative work, both self-assessment and peer assessment are vital for improving your craft. What does this mean in the classroom? Well, it starts with self-assessment. Here students engage in goal setting, where they set goals, plan their approach, and keep track of the progress. They also engage in self-reflections. Here they can reflect on the learning process, but also focus on the strengths and weaknesses of their products, which then leads to new iterations. A similar option is a student survey with multiple choice, checkboxes, and Likert scales. In some cases, students might use a self-assessment rubric. Students are able to look at the progression from emerging to mastery with specific descriptions in various categories. They are able to gain an accurate view on what they are doing while also having a clear picture of where they need to be.
There we go. We can move on from there. Student assessments can be attained by holding pre-tests at the start of the school year to see what areas of study my students need more or less assessments in, as well as a survey that is how each student learns the best. This way I can account for all the different learning types during my lesson plans. Finally, the digital divided effect with more schools turning to technology to teach, it allows for learning to become more accessible for only the people that can afford it. Teachers can help close this divide by advocating to their schooling systems to make sure every student has access to technology so no student has an unfair disadvantage. As an upcoming teacher, I want to help close this digital divide by making my lessons a mixture between digital reliance and physical lesson plans, so that both students with and without stable access to technology and internet at home, so no student has a disadvantage when completing class assignments at home. Sorry about that. That's the end of my book. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you again in the future. Take care.